Is $87.75 with a 5 easy pay of $17.55. We have average and large, and it's J346337, about a ½ inch in width. This doming is unbelievable. The rib design is gorgeous, and you know there's a great story. Was this a gift, or did she find this special piece somewhere?
This was a gift originally from Prince Rainier, and it was a gift for the birth of her
second daughter,
daughter,
Stephanie?
Right, third child. She was the last. It was there was a long spread between she was pregnant with Caroline on her honeymoon, which was very nice. And as a matter of fact, they were sailing on a yacht all the time, and she was pretty good on a boat. And Prince Rainier didn't understand why she's being so sick. On the boat, and it wasn't moving that much. And she said, I don't know, I just don't seem to feel right. But sometime on the honeymoon, she was pregnant. The prince was born, the next one. The prince was born a little over a year later. And then was a long period in between, a number of miscarriages, a lot of effort that went on. And finally, in 1965, she had with another child, and she was a little girl, and her name was Stephanie. And Prince Rainier was thrilled. And one of the gifts, and I say one of the gifts, was this bracelet. It was also made in the Coco Chanel version of one side for daytime use, one side for nighttime use. Means one side had stones in it. The stones were all flawless diamonds. And it's called shrimping. It goes around. And you can see how large it is and how beautiful it is. The other side has the exact same design, but no stones. And that would have been worn during the day. And it's in a slight oval shape, so it doesn't rotate by itself. You have to go through a little bit of effort onto it. It is a hard bangle, and you should get the size that it will move. It needs to slide up and down your wrist. It goes from your wrist to almost mid length of your arm. That's what a bangle does, slides up and down. And because it's oval, for the most part, it will not turn. And sometimes you might find that it actually did a little flipping, depending on how active your hand was at the time. That you put it back into it.
Can I mention really quickly that in the large choice, there's only 2 dozen left. So if you want this in the large, please don't wait. Please continue.
Good.
Thank you.
I want to show you a photograph and tell you how it got its name. It was a bracelet, simply a bracelet, but it is officially called the Rose bracelet. This is interesting. This is the prince now. Of course, he is the prince now, and he has 2 twins. They're beautiful children. And this is Grace. They were standing in the courtyard. This is the Herculean courtyard that's in the palace. And being in politics is sometimes extremely boring. They stand for hours, and there's speeches that go on, and you wait for somebody to show up, and then somebody else leaves. And the prince had noticed, and he's only a little boy, if you notice in that photograph. One more time, we'll go back to that photograph.
Yeah, if we can come back to that, that'd be great.
You would, you'll see that the prince, he was just standing there alone, and he noticed that his mother was very, very bored. He went over to one of the flower pots, and again, if we go back into the photograph, he goes to one of the flower pots, he picks out a rose, and he hands it to her. So she was so bored. She loved this photograph that we're going to see in a split second. And in the photograph, we can get a little closer. Here we go. Here he's taking a rose. And here you see the bracelet coming out. What a sweet thing for him to do. Such a sweet little boy. And Grace loves this photograph, one of her favorite photographs. And from that point on, this is known as the Rose bracelet. Isn't that beautiful?
Is there more pictures of this one too?
No, this is the one that's really, this is probably the most specific of any photograph of all. And the fact that we know that she loves this photograph so much, and actually named a piece of jewelry because her wonderful sweet son gave her a rose.
That's so beautiful.
And it was beautiful. And of course, it's just something that it goes to her heart, and this is a very important piece. It was a very expensive piece. It was for the birth of the 3rd child, the 3rd royal. And as mentioned earlier, they did have titles. Caroline became Princess Caroline, and of course Albert became Prince Albert, and this was for Princess Stephanie. All of her children and all of Caroline's children do take on again, because they are royals. They have princess in their name, so therefore their children will also have prince and princess into it. So that's part of the way that it works in royalty. This is a beautiful piece of jewelry. It is called the rose bracelet.
There is a heft and a beauty to this. You mentioned earlier, by the way, last call in the large. If you want the large, last call, 5 easy pay of $17.55. If you want the average, that's the size I'm wearing. It's only 6 dozen remaining. I love that you mentioned this, that these pieces are made exactly to the size, the scale, the weight that the originals were.
That's correct. We have to get that feeling. This is a different world at the time. This is the world of elegance. This is the world of sophistication. This was very, very feminine time when a woman was a woman. And a man, as they said, was a man at that time. He was polite. He stood up. If somebody left the table, the man stood up. It was a different time. And it was an elegant world. And we have followed it through and through. This is solid metal. It is pewter, 100% pewter underneath. There's no other mixed metals, nothing in there the clasp is steel, I should say that. The clasp has steel in there. But the pewter is there for the weight. The pewter has the really good weight. Original was 18 karat gold with diamonds. It's now, of course, done with pewter. It is covered in 18 karat gold, so you have that exact same color, the feel, and the way it continues going. And what were diamonds are now Swarovski crystals.
Wow.
Perfect look to it. And when you turn it around, it has that same design, but no crystals on that side, so no sparkle, depending upon the look that you feel like having.
Well, I got to tell you, large is now sold out. And the average we still have available, but it is going quickly. J346337, 5 easy payments of $17.55. I also want to remind you about the Rue de Paris necklace. That is also going quickly. We're going to take another look at it, but it is been